Taylor Hackford, such a pleasure to have you here. It's never enough to celebrate you. He directed a massive commercial and critical hit, An Officer and a Gentleman, I guess all Loads, just to mention a few, and about Ray Charles, starring Jamie Foxx, who won an Oscar for Best Actor, and many, many more. Thank you. Thank you for being here, for presenting the Jack Valenti Award. Can you tell us more about Jack Valenti?
Well, I'm interested. How many people here know who Jack Valenti was? Yes, well, that's a good number. I'm going to tell you a little bit about him because young people today don't know who Jack Valenti is. I'm thrilled that Pascal has used his name to give this prestigious award. Jack was an Italian American. He wasn't from the Northeast, from New York or Boston, where a lot of Italian immigrants are from. He was from Texas. And he was a man about that high. But he was, personality-wise, that pick. He loved his country, meaning America. He was in the Second World War, and he flew a P-35 bomber. He did 51 missions into Europe. Could have been shot down innumerable times. And so he had a lot of guts. He also came back and went to Washington, D.C. with another Texan named Lyndon Baines Johnson, the President of the United States. And Jack was the Chief of Staff. But he always loved Hollywood. And LBJ said, okay, I'm starting a thing called the Motion Picture Association of America, which is going to be the official organization of movies, and I'm going to make you the head of it. So Jack came here. Now you can say, wait a minute, what's a Texan by way of Washington, D.C.? What's he going to be able to do here? Well, he was the right hand of a guy named Lew Wasserman. He had a 1,000-pound gorilla in this city, meaning the most powerful man in Hollywood, as his sponsor. And Jack had a ferocious personality, and he was a great guy, and he fought for this industry. So I just want to say that you naming this award for him, I'm sure he'd be thrilled. I'm thrilled for him. And now let me talk about another Italian American, Rick Nocita. Rick is receiving this award today, and he deserves it. You know, Rick was for many, many years one of the top agents in Hollywood. Now you may have heard, oh, Hollywood agents, I don't know about them. That's wrong. When there's a great agent, and Rick Nocita was a great agent, it's like another member of your crew. Because Paula Wagner, his wife, was an agent at the CIA before she became, a big producer. They put talent in movies, and if they were on your side, you would be able to get some of the greatest actors ever to be in your movie. And I think people don't understand, they misinterpret what it means to be an agent. And Rick was one of the greatest. Just to give you an idea, I have to go to a list here because it's long. But listen to the people he represented. Tom Cruise, you ever heard of him? How about Al Pacino? He's won this award, by the way. Anthony Hopkins, Nicole Kidman, Sally Field, David Lynch, one of my colleagues, Kevin Costner, Francis Ford Coppola. Ever heard of him? Yeah. Jeff Bridges, who was in one of my movies, and I dealt with Rick on that. Kurt Russell, Kate Hudson, Deborah Winger, Gary Marshall, John Lithgow, Sissy Spacek, and somebody named Mel Gibson. Now, that's quite a talent list. But just so you understand, and Rick, what Asians say most of the time when you call them, they have a one-syllable word, no. Is Tom Cruise available? No. Well, what about Al Pacino? No. And you gotta have a lot of ferocious energy to keep pursuing it. Now, the one thing about Rick Nocita, if he said no, it didn't necessarily mean no. He was famous for, if Rick Nocita says no, there's still a chance. because he's representing clients. I made a film called Devil's Advocate with Al Pacino. By the way, big popular film in Italy. If you go, I've gone to film schools there. They have lines, Pacino's lines memorized, film students. And I called Rick Nocita and I said, I'm making this movie. I want Al Pacino to play the devil. Rick called back and said, well, he just doesn't feel like it. I'm sorry, it's a no. But he said it in such a way, very nice. He said, I'm sorry, I think it's a great script. I felt that the door was a little wedged open. So I said, no, Rick, don't, before you hang up. If I get the writer, Tony Gilroy, to write some new scenes for Al, can I come back to you? And Rick said, well, if you guys are you don't need to do it, and I've told you no, but if you do that, out of respect, Al will have to read it. Went back 3 times. Al said yes, and the rest is history. Now, this is a personal story with Rick Nocita. He's now a producer. He was executive producer of Hacksaw Ridge with Mel Gibson. Was nominated for an Academy Award as Best Picture. Last year, he did, what's the name of the film? Anthony Hopkins? Freud's Last Section. Yes. And, really, Rick's got a lot of class. He has high-class productions. And he and I happen to be working on something called Wright versus Johnson with Al Pacino, the same man, about Frank Lloyd Wright and Philip Johnson. We hope that we'll be standing here in a couple of years before you screening that film. But I want to just say, Rick Nocita is a gentleman. He's an incredibly talented and sincere and serious human being, and a real professional. And that's what Hollywood is really about. So it gives me huge pleasure to present the Jack Valenti Award to Rick Nocita.
Rick Nocita, hi, welcome. And you have some Italian heritage as well.
Thank you. I don't know how I can follow that, but thank you, Charlie. Thank you so much for that beautiful speech. And Raffaella, thank you for your friendship over the years. And I can't help but think of your father, Dino, who was always so helpful to me from the beginning of my career. He's a great man. And the Jack Valenti Award is very special. As Taylor said, Jack was a smart, generous man whose contributions to the movie business can't be equaled. I've always been very, very proud to be Italian American. I'm almost full-blooded Italian American. My father's family is Calabria. My mother's family is from Sicily. And matter of fact, in the Godfather, in the scene where our friend, client, Al Pacino walks through the wedding procession in Sicily, on a phone pole you can see the name Nocita on a poster. I think it was a wanted poster, but I'm really not sure, but I think so. To be Italian, but Italy has contributed art, beauty, culture, food, wine, movies, and the Roman Empire. I mean, only some of its qualities. So I'm a very proud Italian American and happy to be here. And if you will bear with me here, grazie a Pascal Filippo e a tutti coloro che sono coinvolti nel Festival Los Angeles Italia, considero questo premio per sempre.